Here are 7 things you need to know before you start a social media marketing agency. And look, if I had known these things when I started my social media marketing agency close to 4 years ago, I would have probably saved a good year and a half of just trial and error. So you're in for a treat, and my commitment to you is that by the end of this video, you're gonna be left with tangible advice you can implement right away into your social media marketing agency to completely crush it. And these 7 things that I'm about to share with you are just simply not talked about enough in this space. And a lot of them actually took me sweat, pain, and tears to learn. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The first thing you need to know before you start an SMMA is that it's saturated if you do what everyone is doing, just like everything else in life. The harsh reality is that if you're gonna offer Facebook ads for e-com businesses or Facebook ads for restaurants, then good luck, get in the queue, because so are thousands of other people. To truly get results with a social media marketing agency, especially in the world that we live in today, you need to go narrow. You need to pick a niche within e-commerce, whether it's vegan brands, whether it's apparel and fashion, whether it's cosmetics, and you need to have a very well-oiled process to results and offer for that specific niche. Which actually leads me to the second thing you need to know before you start a social media marketing agency, which is your service is not your offer. This is something a little bit hard to wrap your head around at first, because almost everyone in the space seems to believe that their offer is their service. What they're offering these clients is Facebook ads. And in reality, that's simply not the case. That is simply the vehicle you're using to get them from point A to point B, but that is not your offer. Let me illustrate this with an example. A few days ago, I was talking to one of my students who came to me, and before my mentorship, he was basically offering to clip long form content for his clients so he can post it as TikTok and Reels. Obviously, as I'm sure you know, this is an in-demand service right now, but there are a few problems with that offer. Although he was selling his service, the problem was that it was very low ticket, and he was using a lot of force to convince these clients to go with him. So he had to reach out to a lot of prospects, get a lot of volume, bang out hundreds of cold emails for 6 to 8 hours a day, like most agency owners, to just convince a handful of people to buy a very low price package. And the simple reason for this was that he was price competitive. Anyone in a low GDP country could offer his service potentially for less than he was offering his service. Not only that, but his service was not framed as an irresistible offer. What he was offering was just his service. Hey, I'm gonna take your long form content and I'm just gonna clip it, right? That is a service, and he thought that his offer was his service, and thus he was struggling to really set the market on fire with his offer. So what we did is we first picked a narrow niche within the whole umbrella of online content creators, and we picked podcast creators. That already sets him apart from 99% of content clippers, simply because most people are offering it to a wide market, trying to appeal to as many people, whereas we went straight for podcast creators, and we did a deep dive and analysis on what podcast creators talk like, behave like, really value, and how they make their money. So we understood our prospects way better than anyone else as well. So that's the first thing that we did. And the second thing that we did so we could charge higher ticket prices is we made his offer, which was previously the service, we made it revenue driven, and we converted it into a process to results. So instead of saying I'm going to take your long form content and I'm going to clip it, we converted that into helping podcast creators add an extra 30% to their bottom line by building out a highly engaged email list using our proven content clipping strategy. And so essentially what we did is, yes, we're still clipping long form content, but we're actually adding revenue to our clients. But we added some other basic pillars to the offer, which made it so much more valuable to this specific niche. So for example, we built out a very simple landing page for podcast creators where someone can access an exclusive interview to capture emails. And we drive all the traffic that we're getting from posting these clips to that landing page. That's a long-winded example, but my point here is we converted a service that was price competitive to something that is completely irresistible for a specific group of people. And so obviously this student had a lot more success with what he was selling. He was able to charge a higher premium for it because he wasn't competing with anyone else. So what he had was a very specific premium service, and also he was able to set the market on fire. Which leads me on to the third thing that you need to know before you start your SMMA, which is the more narrow you go, the better. A lot of people are under the assumption that the more people that you can appeal to, the better, right? You're never gonna run out of leads, and that is completely the wrong way to go about things. When you're starting out, what you don't have is experience, track record, and clients. What you do have is hunger, ambition, maybe time on your hands, but most importantly, the ability to be whatever you want. Big and more established agencies don't have that luxury. You want to imagine them like big clunky elephants who are slaves to their success. What I mean by this is because they're much bigger, they have a much bigger clientele, and so they cannot just go ahead and narrow into a very specific niche. However, in your case, because you don't have any clientele, because no one knows who you are, that's great because you can narrow down into literally the narrowest of spaces. You could, for example, pick skincare as your niche, do that for the next 2 months, put together a process to results like the example that I just gave you. And how many agencies are you competing against? Probably none. And that's going to make it so much easier to sign clients in the current landscape. The fourth thing you need to remember before you start an agency is avoid the do-it-all freelancer at all costs. If you want to be an agency owner and a successful one, you want to operate and behave like one. An agency owner operates like a CEO. They constantly focus on the highest leverage activities that actually move the needle forward. They also focus on what I call asymmetric return activities, building systems, creating processes where once built, you can put little input and create a lot of output. My point here is you need to understand that you cannot do everything yourself. You might feel like that will save you money, but it won't, and it will just put a glass ceiling over your head, because at the end of the day, you're going to be trading time for money. The first thing you need to delegate is the service delivery, so you can focus on creating systems and processes for your agency, as well as signing clients and scaling the business. And also because chances are you're not an expert at your service, and that is completely fine, which leads me on to the fifth thing you need to know before you start your agency. Do not try to be a Google Ads expert. Do not try to be insert the service that you end up picking expert. A lot of people focus so much on becoming an expert at the service that they're offering. And so they might spend 2 to 3 years trying to learn the service that they're going to be offering. They waste so much time and they delay the process of signing clients for their agency, scaling their business, and building up their financial time, location freedom. Now, many people online will just say, outsource it and completely forget about it. I say, no, do not do that. Learn as much as you can about the service, and that will give you insane level of confidence on the sales calls. However, understand that you'll never be as good as the people that are out there that have been learning Facebook ads and doing Facebook ads and in the trenches for 7+ years. And that is completely okay, because they're looking to be hired by agencies just like us. They love just doing the one thing that they're passionate about. They love not having expenses. They love to not jump on sales calls and sign clients. They love to not build a business. They love to just do the one thing that they're passionate about. And that is great. Understand your place and do not waste time. Number 6, honesty wins. I'm sorry to break it up to you, but honesty always wins. People can see through the bullshit. People can see through the facade. And I see a lot of advice thrown around in this space, which relies on essentially lying to prospects. Even if it's a small white lie, it just adds up. A lot of advice based around saying whatever goes to prospects to get their business. But the problem is, number one, if you say a lie on a sales call, like for example, oh, we have a lot of clients, or yes, we've been doing this for years on end, or yes, I'm a Facebook ads expert, or whatever lie it is, usually the sales call turns into a complete shit show, because then they will push you into that lie and you will have to go deeper into that lie, turning it into a bigger and bigger lie. And even if you do manage to get them through the door with a lie, it will always come back to bite you in the ass. Funny thing that people don't understand about sales is that you don't have to lie. In fact, you should never lie, right? And you're actually much better off if you frame things correctly. For example, let's just say that on a sales call, you jump on and you're constantly being tested around the service on a sales call. Most people will just try to lie, or will just try to make up things to seem like an expert. Prospects who are a little bit more sophisticated, maybe you're talking to a chief marketing officer or marketing manager, they will see through the bullshit. You're much better off obviously showing expertise around the service, but also telling them, look, John, I know 99.9% more than most people when it comes to digital marketing, and I've spent months putting together the e-com funnels that are proven to work specifically for skincare brands. And so not only do I know more about digital marketing and e-com growth than 99% of people out there, but our strategies and our funnels are proven specifically for skincare brands. But having said that, I'm actually not going to be the one running your ads. Instead, I've spent countless hours hiring the best of the best, literally the best people in the world when it comes to running Facebook ads. And we've actually got Mark, who's going to be running your ads. Now, Mark has a ton of experience, having spent millions on advertising for e-com brands. And so thank God I'm not going to be the one running your ads, although I know quite a lot about it, because Mark is literally a killer. And so you might be asking yourself, John, what is my role here at the agency? Well, first of all, putting together a world-class team, as well as building an incredible ecosystem for clients to really thrive in. Now, that was completely off the cuff, so cut me some slack, but you get my point. You don't have to lie if you frame things correctly. Now, when John hears that, the trust and the rapport that he's going to be able to build with you is a lot higher now, because he can clearly see that I'm being very honest. Number two, it hasn't decreased any of my authority because I've framed things correctly, right? I've said, hey, look, I know more than 99% of people, right? And I've shown you that I know more than 99% of people. Not only that, but we know more about your space than anyone else in the industry. And I've also told him how I've got an incredible team, right? So I've given him a lot of reassurance. I've also framed things correctly when speaking about what I actually do at my agency and why what I do is valuable. And so he hasn't ruined anything. Whereas if I had lied and tried to be this almighty expert with 7+ years of experience, John would have probably caught on to my bullshit very soon, because he would have pressed me and he would have pushed me on my expertise around Facebook ads. And eventually I would have cracked with some term that I don't quite know, or some concept that I haven't fully understood just yet because I'm just starting my agency. Hopefully you get the point, and I'll probably be doing a whole video on this on my channel on how to handle these objections with complete honesty and why honesty is so incredibly important. So make sure you subscribe for that. But the seventh and final thing that you need to know before you start your agency is that simple scales and fancy fails. You want to keep complexity low as much as possible to scale as fast as possible. A lot of people in the space seem to believe that the only way to grow an agency is by signing more clients and having a lot of volume. But instead, what you want to do to keep complexity low, have peace of mind, and really enjoy the whole journey while making the most profit and the most money, you want to scale not through volume of clients, but through value per client. When I scaled to 100K per month with my social media marketing agency, and I actually did a video on my channel on this, I did it only with 9 clients, and the simple reason being that a lot of my clients actually paid me more than 10K per month for my services. How did I do this? Well, first of all, I'm in the e-commerce space, so I can charge those higher retainers simply because e-com brands have a lot higher profit margins. They also see this service as a complete necessity, whereas local businesses have way slimmer profit margins, so they can reinvest less into their business. They also don't see paid ads as a complete necessity. The list goes on. But for every single one of my clients, I also had ad profit deals in place. Basically, every single month I took a percentage of what I made them. And that amount grew month on month as I scaled how much I was spending on advertising for them, the ad spend, without any added complexity for me. And so those, my friend, are the 7 things you need to know before you start a social media marketing agency. The final thing that I will say is, look, if you're considering it, do it. First of all, because building a business is literally the best personal development thing you can do. It will push you to your limits. You will go on an emotional roller coaster, but it is so absolutely worth it. You will look back and you will say, I'm so glad I started my business. And not only because of the time, location, freedom that you can unlock, but because of the personal transformation that you can undergo as you grow your business. And so stop watching from the sidelines, get in the game, implement some of the advice that I shared with you on this video. And if you want to catch more free trainings to help you along the way, there's going to be a link in the description to my free Facebook mastermind. I'm going live on there pretty much on a daily basis with exclusive free trainings. I'm not posting anywhere else. So you can go ahead and apply. And if you're a good fit, we'll let you in. And with that being said, I will see you on the next one. Peace.